All right, we're live once again with another video talking about this Canelo Bivol fight. And
All right, we're
another
live.
another breaking story here. Dimitri Bivol, it's been reported that he's been yet to been paid and for this fight
Another
due to the Russian sanctions.
Dimitri.
So, what do you think, Maestro? What's going on here?
Well, Joe, I mean, as you know, I sent you the link as soon as I got news of this. We had been talking about it because I felt that there were a number of things that were unprecedented here with the Bivol Canelo fight. I mean, he was the defending world champion. He was defending his world title belt at 175-pound belt, not belts, as I was corrected the other day. And he walked out first. You know, he was announced first. They announced him as being from Indio, California. Like, it was my understanding that he trained in Indio, California. I didn't know he was actually from there. Obviously, he's not. He's a Russian born in Kyrgyzstan. They didn't announce him as being from his own country. And then it turns out later on, I mean, thanks to you sent me kind of a statement by him where he had essentially said he didn't even get to come out to the music he normally comes out to. I guess now we're banning Russian music. Evidently, that seems to be the case. And now we're hearing reports from reputable news outlets, too, that he might not even be getting paid for this fight. And I'm going to share the screen with people so that they can see what we're talking about, if that's okay, Joe. You know, news reports come out over here. This is from Business Insider. Russian sanctions mean it's very difficult to receive 5 million Canelo payday, Dimitri Bivol says. So he hasn't been paid. We don't yet know if he's going to be paid. As it says here, Bivol, a Kyrgyzstan-born Russian. So he's born in Central Asia, in a country that used to be part of the former Soviet Union. He trains in California, but he lives in St. Petersburg, Russia, which is, you know, I believe it's Russia's second largest city after Moscow. It used to be called Leningrad. Joe, a lot of stuff has bothered me about the whole Bivol situation. As you know, he came out very early in favor of peace. All right? People were not even reporting it, really. He came out in favor of peace. And they've completely sought to remove his Russian identity from any aspect of this promotion, down to the selection of the music that he typically walks out to. So what? He's supposed to fight Canelo for no money because of a military conflict that he has no more to do with than Canelo Alvarez?
What is these sanctions really doing? Again, you know, you're punishing people that have nothing to do with the war. This man is not a soldier, right? He's basically saying that he's for peace. He's saying he's against the war, basically. He wants it to be over. Why is he being punished, right? Why is he being punished? And again, we go back to when the United States was going through the situation with Iraq. Were our athletes punished? Were we sanctioned by the rest of the world? No, we were not. And again, if you let him fight, then why wouldn't you pay him for what he for his work, right?
100%. I mean, let me ask you, Joe. You're a military vet. Under international law, was the invasion of Iraq legal?
No,
it was a totally illegal military operation. By the way, not in a country that borders the United States, a country literally halfway around the world. I mean, Iraq is in the Middle East, halfway around the world. Again, Joe, you're a veteran. The reason for going into Iraq, again, an illegal invasion, was weapons of mass destruction, correct?
Correct.
Were weapons of mass destruction ever found?
Nope.
No, but upwards of reports have been like up to 1 million civilians died in that conflict. 1 million. Joe, were any U.S. fighters during that time not allowed to come out to their own music?
Nope.
Were any U.S. fighters denied the ability to have their anthem played?
No.
Similar question about Syria. Similar question about Libya, Somalia, Afghanistan. I could go on and on. I mean, to me, it's quite clear that we live in a media landscape where it's totally fine to engage in xenophobia against Russians. They can't have their music played. Their flag can't be shown anywhere. You can't even say they're from Russia. You can't say they're Russian. You can't hear Russian music. I mean, I told you about what happened at the Lehman Center here in the Bronx, right? When I had tickets to go see an orchestra, that was canceled, right? So now you can't even see music. Russian musicians aren't even allowed to earn a living. And now, after allowing a boxer to fight in the United States, fight the sport's biggest cash cow, beat him convincingly, as we've been talking about all week, now apparently he may not get paid. And for anyone who's just joining us, I mean, here's the article right out of the Business Insider. Russian sanctions mean it's very difficult to receive $5 million Canelo payday, Dmitry Bivol says. And this was reported in other media outlets as well. Joe, I just got to get your immediate reaction to this, other than we got to go live about it, which is what you said when I texted you this thing. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. I mean, this is a guy who's fought in America before. He's paid taxes to this country. You know what I mean? He's trained in this country, right? You know, he's lived in this country, you know, for months at a time. Spent a lot of time in this country. You know, he knows a lot of people here. He's basically been integrated into our culture, so to speak, right? And I'm sure he's able to, I don't know, he's not a citizen, but I'm sure he has a work visa to come here.
Well, of course he does. And let me ask you this. Has he not tried to integrate himself? Let me ask you this. Has Bivol's English improved since he started his pro career? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has he been making an effort to ingratiate himself to the English language world?
Yes.
To the U.S. boxing public?
Yes.
Under what grounds can you deny this civilian, someone who's not in that government, someone who has no say over his government's foreign policy, his income? Joe, you went to work today, right?
That's right. I got paid.
You went to work last week, right?
Yeah.
Did you get paid?
Yes, I did.
So why shouldn't this guy get paid?
It's disgraceful.
And what about the people like Joel Diaz, his sparring partners, and everyone else that need to get paid?
That's right.
What about his manager that needs to get paid for all of the work he did to put this fight together?
You're holding all, you know, a lot of people are depending on that purse, so Dmitry Bivol can pay them with that purse, because the fighter pays the trainers, pays his manager, pays everybody from that purse.
Yeah, what about his wife?
He's got a wife. He's got kids.
He's got parents who I'm sure he takes care of.
I mean, the guy trained for 8 to 10 weeks, spent all that time away from his family, right? Put himself in the ring where he subjected himself to bodily harm. He could have been physically damaged in there, right? But yet he doesn't. He's expected to do all that for free. Listen, if you weren't going to pay the guy, or if you're going to give him a hard time about paying him, then why did you even allow the fight in the first place?
100%.
I mean, who's actually holding up this money?
Well, apparently, what the report is saying is that you know, because of sanctions against transferring money to Russians, I guess paying Russians, they're unable to give them the money.
So, in other words, if he wants, well, they all they can do is just cut. All they have to do is just really cut him a check. That's what they usually do. They usually have the check ready. They a lot of times the promoters will give the checks to the commission, and the commission will hand the fighters the checks after the fight.
Yeah, but the problem is that he's Russian. And apparently these sanctions mean that they can't do that.
Well, then why did they allow him to fight then? Why did they have the fight knowing they weren't going to pay him is what I'm trying. If there was a problem with him getting paid, why didn't they work all this out before the fight? Why are they trying to fuck him over after the fight?
So here we go. It also says sporting organizations, FIFA, which controls soccer, known as football in most parts of the world, and UEFA suspended Russian soccer clubs and national teams from their competitions in full solidarity with all the people affected in Ukraine. Other sports, including swimming, tennis, and F1, have taken similar steps. TASS asked Bivol in Russian whether it is technically difficult to get a fee for this fight in light of the current situation. Bivol said, "I think it's very difficult," before adding that the fee for the fight hadn't yet arrived.
They owe him $5 million, man, according to these reports, and they haven't even fucking paid him yet.
I mean, that's a lot of money, bro.
It's a lot of fucking money, bro.
That's a lot of money, and you know who's gonna get their money though?
Canelo's getting his money.
Canelo, but also the Nevada State Athletic Commission. You know, the DIRS is gonna get their money. So everyone gets paid except for one of the two fighters that put his blood, sweat, and life on the line for our entertainment. Let's get to the super chat. Chauncey Pearls, thank you so much, brothers. Chauncey asked, did the promotion DAZN know this could happen and they still allowed the fight to go on? This is like walking out in a restaurant, Bill. It's robbery. I got to agree. I mean, well, and then we got it. I need you to respond to this. I don't know if this dude's trolling or what. I don't know if you're familiar with this dude, if he's a sub of yours.
I'm not even gonna.
I'm glad he isn't getting paid. That's what he gets. Why does he get that?
Yeah, I'm not even.
I want Ignacio, if you're in the chat, I want to know, why does he get that? Because he beat Canelo, or?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna drop a link, and I want to see if he has the balls to come on and explain why he shouldn't get paid. Fucking keyboard warrior, let's go. Here you go. Here's your link.
I mean,
there's your fucking link. Explain to me why he shouldn't get paid. Coward.
I mean, look, I've been saying this from the beginning, right? And I'm going to be consistent about this. And I'm going to be very consistent about it. And honestly, I don't care who gets offended by what I'm about to say. I live in the USA. I live in the United States of America. This is a country that's launched more illegal military campaigns against foreign peoples and foreign lands, at least in the modern world. I can't think of another country that's done more. I'm in no position being over here to criticize another country doing anything, to be honest with you. Now, I can speak out against military conflict. Of course I can. And I've been consistent about that. But for me to say that a Russian boxer or a Russian musician or another Russian civilian shouldn't be paid because they happen to be born in a certain country, that would be the height of hypocrisy if I were to say that. Because that would be like me saying that I shouldn't be paid or that Joe shouldn't be paid because the government that represents the country where we live is engaged in military operations through the world, which they are right now. Oh, I see what he's saying. I think he's just being cute. He's being cute. He's saying that's what he gets for beating Canelo. Canelo, I'll never forgive him for that. Bro, okay.
You got to grow up and be a man, bro.
So, Jacob Ramos says Bivol's people knew this might have happened. I don't know that it's the case. Why would they go through it if they didn't know that it might happen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through with a fight knowing I'm not gonna get paid for it.
Scalebender says not DAZN's problem. They ready to fund whatever account Bivol wants. Do you know that?
DAZN gives the money to the promoter, and on many occasions the promoter hands over the checks to the commission. And I know in Las Vegas that's how they usually do it.
But let me ask you something. Isn't Russian money kind of in partly funding DAZN, or am I off Am I
I'm
off on?
not sure if the DAZN is available in Russia. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, it says billionaire Blavnatik's firm injects 4.3 billion into British sports, and this is Reuters. So I mean, take this with whatever grain of salt you want. I'm going to share the article right now for those so they could see what my screen is showing me here. But according to this, right? This is from February 18th of this year. The Zone Group announced a 4.3 billion capital injection by its backer and billionaire investor Len Blavatnik's firm on Friday as the British sports media company looks to expand into recreational betting, gaming, and non-fungible tokens.
What's his name? Len Blavatnik?
Len Blavatnik. So I'm gonna Google him and see what it says. So
I guess he's British. He's a British philanthropist, they say.
British for answer. He's actually Ukrainian. So
is he Ukrainian?
There you go. There you go.
Oh, is he of Ukrainian descent? But he lives in Great Britain.
Yeah, he lives in Great Britain.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. This is a good question. Asim Khan, is Baturviev getting paid for his fight?
I don't know.
Right? It's a good question. The fight doctor, I agree with you 100%. Only a drooling idiot thinks that Bivol shouldn't get paid. I mean, fight doctor, you're absolutely right. Here we go. Scale Bender wants to join in. Let's hear what Scale Bender has to say. Scale Bender, you're live with us. Go ahead.
This is Lynn. I'm the new investor for. No, I'm just kidding. No, Beeb's right though about that. It's not the zone. But yeah, I'm sure Matchroom's ready to fund it unless they want to just risk their reputation, from here on out for actually paying fighters. But I'm sure Bivol's people are trying to make sure that they're not going to run into any problems first, right?
I'm sure Matchroom's going to have to deal with it. Yeah.
I mean, they're ready to fund it. They're ready to cut a check. But if I'm Bivol's people, I'm saying, hold on for a second. Before we accept that check, let me just make sure. I might want you to cut it to a different company. I don't want the shit seized as soon as it hits the account, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if he should just open up a bank account here in America and just deposit it there just to make sure.
If they'll let
you're gonna get taxed on it though, yeah.
And they get taxed on it anyways because he fought here.
I'm saying they might have already done that, except it's like what do you call it?
They usually
know your customer. They call it know your customer. That's like the regulation now that the banks.
They usually get a 1099 at the end of the year. The fighters, they don't pay the taxes up front a lot of times. They pay.
Yeah, I don't mean federal income tax. I'm talking about like sometimes you can open you open an account now. They have this know your customer procedure where they don't even let the funds go active for a certain time. A foreigner. Anyway, they're probably working it out. I just doubt.
Well, they usually
I doubt Matchroom's.
Yeah, when you usually do a large deposit, it takes a couple of days for them to release your funds, anyways.
See, Beeb knows he's big money professional gambler.
Got 6 figures in the account,
Shifting funds, but someone should come out and say that though. Like Bivol's people should come out and somebody should come out and make that statement instead of letting this thing spiral up to Matchroom's trying to fuck them, right?
Scale Bender, I'm going to ask for your opinion on this, right? Because here's a quote from Bivol. He says, they were saying that I shouldn't box. Then they say, let's do it without the Russian flag. Then they say, let's play different music. It was a surprise for me how they announced me. They didn't say that I was from St. Petersburg or Kyrgyzstan. They somehow say that I was from Indio, California. Like, what do you think about that?
He seems like a pretty rational guy. I don't know that he gives a shit. I mean, maybe after the fact he's commenting. I know when they asked him about it post-fight, he was just like, I'm not going to let it distract me. You want me to come in first? Fine. Second? Fine.
That was me that asked that at the post-fight press conference.
Oh, was it really? Oh, good question.
I asked that question.
Well, then you were there. He seems like a pretty level-headed guy, right? Like pretty upbeat. He's not going to let it distract him.
He did come out and say, if there's a rematch, I want to be treated like the champion. So apparently he feels as though he wasn't treated like the champion in this fight, which it appears that he wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
I bet that's true. I bet he was just pretty much. I heard his manager say, "Look, we stipulated to every single A side demand they had. Whatever you want to come in first, fine. Second, fine. You want to come in on a flying carpet with sparklers all over it, fine. We'll stand there. No Russian anthem, great. Let's do it."
Yeah, Vadim said that, as you said, in response to my question there at the T-Mobile arena. I mean, look, he's got thicker skin than me. I would have definitely used that shit as motivation if I was in his shoes.
But it's like the thing is though, like, Billy Joe with the ring size. I don't know how this is not established beforehand, the size of the goddamn ring. We're handling this the day before the fight. But the point of the matter is, though, if anything, you let your team deal with it, and you're not gonna like get rattled by thinking about all this bullshit Russian national anthem. They should eliminate all their national anthems.
That's what I said. I mean,
even the American one, get that out of there too. I don't wait.
Yeah, they don't play them for every fight. Only certain fights they play them for. Like, why even play them at all? It just
it's midnight. I got to listen to the national anthem. I love America, but get out of here.
It's the worst part of attending a sporting event in this country, including fights. What is it like? I'm not going there to stand up and salute a country, anything. Just start the fight already.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, and they didn't play anthems for Errol Spence Jr. against Yordenis Ugas. It's not like it's a requirement.
No, it's not.
So
to me, it's so late at night. I mean, I'm a night owl anyway, but I got to admit, like they do make the fights late. You know what I mean? So it's like all I want to do after this fight was actually on earlier than normal. This fight was actually on at like midnight instead of 1 in the morning. Anyway, the last thing you want to do after all that wait and a crappy undercard is sit there and like 3 national anthems.
They started this fight, the card at the pay-per-view card at 8:00, and it still went off kind of like close to 12, right? That's because all the fucking national anthems.
Yeah.
And then it took an hour for Canelo to come out. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm actually happy Canelo lost now. You know what I mean? I'm tired of all this bullshit. Oh well, if the fight goes the distance, he's gonna get the decision anyways. All these fucking stipulations, the rehydration clauses, and all this other. I mean, I know he didn't do it for this fight, but he's done it in the past. All this other bullshit. You know, I'll fight whoever I want. You know, I'll do whatever I want. But fuck the fans, whatever. I'm just glad. I mean, I don't wish anything bad on anyone, but I'm glad he lost.
Joe, just for the people joining us again, I'm going to pull it up and read it one more time. And I'm going to
go ahead, brother.
I did last time. So again, this is Bivol in his own words. They were saying that I shouldn't box. Then they say, let's do it with the Russian flag. Then they say, let's play different music, i.e. he usually comes out to his favorite Russian artist. It was a surprise for me how they announced me. They didn't say that I was from St. Petersburg or Kyrgyzstan. They somehow said that I was from Indio, California. And then after that, now he's not getting paid.
I love these fans in the chat. Like, no disrespect, but, oh, Joe with the hate, LOL. Oh, maybe they're just kidding around. I mean, I don't want to get on him.
I can see that this dude, Darnell Mosley, I don't know if he's kidding around or not. I mean, why don't I see you guys talk about corruption against black fighters? Number one, what corruption? Number two, I did about a 4-hour stream with Joe where we were siding with Terrence Crawford.
Oh my God. How hard in the paint were we going for Terrence Crawford, man?
I mean, we had people coming at us for like 3-4 hours straight telling us that we're fools for saying that Terrence Crawford has a point. So are we not allowed to speak out when a fighter's not getting paid? By the way, let me ask you something, Darnell. Who's the last black fighter in a pay-per-view not to get his money? Because if you can tell me who that is, I'll go live with Joe for overtime tonight after the roundtable. We'll do a live just devoted to that.
Logan Paul ain't black. He didn't get paid.
Matter of fact, tell me about a black fighter. Matter of fact, who wasn't allowed to have his national anthem played. And by the way, who didn't get to pick his music going into the ring. Again, show me that. And again, I'll do a overtime right after the round table tonight, strictly devoted to that topic. All right, so come at me with the facts. Okay, because what you're saying here is nonsensical. I've done videos about Rigando. I've done videos about Terrence Crawford. All right, and Joe's done videos about Terrence Crawford. So miss me with the bullshit.
Darnell Mosley. Look at that name. Get out of here, Darnell.
Miss me with the bullshit, dog. So Haplotype's bringing up Logan Paul hasn't been paid.
Yeah, he hasn't been paid.
Unbelievable.
I don't think Haplotype's been paid yet either, man, for all the work he does.
We've actually. I know. I have, and I'm sure Joe has as well. I've talked about the Triller problems with Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. But by the way, they did get some money. Bivol saying he's not getting paid at all. He's not getting paid at all.
They're supposed to get the checks the night of the fight, bro. They get them
unless they got an issue where they might want to hold on for a second and get something set up where.
Can I explain to you
why
the promoter gives the checks to the commission, just in case the fighter does something wrong and they have to be fined, or they want to uphold them from getting paid or whatever. That's why a lot of times they give the checks. The promoter gives the checks to the commission, and the commission gives the fighters the checks after.
Okay, you know I gotta address something, Mr. Vegas. You're wrong. Were you at the fight? I was at the fight. There weren't a lot of empty seats in the arena.
No, I don't want.
I actually took live video when I was in the crowd at the fight. There were not a lot of empty seats in the arena. So you're I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. Now, if you were at the fight and have pictures, then maybe you have. You saw did you see the footage on my channel? Because I could show you the footage from my channel right now. There were not a lot of empty seats in the arena.
Mr. Vegas, all you got to do is call up. Where was it? Where was it at a T-Mobile?
It was at the T-Mobile. Yeah.
If you call up the T-Mobile, or you can call up the Las Vegas, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. They'll tell you what the crowd was. They'll tell you the attendance. I've called up New York. I've called up Vegas.
I don't know what you're basing that on. You're eyeballing it clearly, and not only that, they blacked out. It was very dark, but you know what? It's okay because Maestro usually comes with the facts. So I'm going to show the facts right now. Let me zoom in on this, and you tell me where you see all the. Let me lower that a little bit. You tell me where you see all the empty seating. All right, you tell me where you see all the empty seating.
Well, people are clearing out of here fast, but some are waiting around for the post-fight interviews.
That's right at the end of the fight, and there's still people there. It's full. So I don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine. That's fine. We can move on. The fact is, they made a lot of money. The fact is, the purse was guaranteed by the zone, anyways, right, Joe? So the man should be
matchroom. By the promoter.
Once again, the zone, Eddie Hearn is using the zone's money, and it's Eddie Hearn pays the fighters. But like I said, what happens is the promoter is usually gives the checks to the commission just in case there's an issue going on where the commission decides to uphold the purse if the fighter does something wrong. A lot of times. So
here we go. I got another video for y'all, Joe. Hold on, right here. I took live from there.
Tim Cheatham, Dave Moretti, and Steve Weisfeld all scored this bout identically, 115 to 113. The winner by unanimous decision. He's still undefeated.
Absolutely. That was the right call.
All right, so as I think I've established there, it was pretty well attended, Joe. And the man deserves to get paid.
I agree.
The man deserved to get paid. Well, I don't know. What do you mean, bro? So what? You fucking brought it up. I didn't fucking bring it up. You did.
Yeah, you can't. You got to let you
arguing with
his comments are irrelevant now. I mean, you just was proven wrong.
It sounded to me like you were saying that the promotion didn't didn't sell, so Bivol shouldn't get paid. Now you're saying, bro, what? So what? Here's so what? I was there. You weren't there. How about that, for starters?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You said that there were a lot of empty seats. You had no evidence to back up that claim. Then I showed you the video. It was a sellout crowd. So what are you talking about, bro? So what? Take the L and go back to the chat.
You can't argue with him.
Oh, so now he's saying he saw empty. Now he's saying he saw empty seats. Okay, but now you're saying, so you were there. So you were there. So now you were there.
I question whether you were there, because if you were there, you would have known that wasn't empty.
So you didn't say it wasn't well attended, but you did. You brought up that there's empty seats, and now you're saying you were there. Okay, I guess you were there. Anyways, let's move on. So Centurion Son saying agree they should cap these freaking anthems. I agree. All right. But it's one thing to say
the attendance was 20,062.
Sounds like it was pretty well attended to me.
That's pretty damn near close to a sellout, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
I like what it put. I'm looking at haplotype. Yeah. So look, it's one thing to say a man shouldn't come out second when he's a champion. It's another thing to say that a man shouldn't be announced second when he's a champion. It's another thing to tell a man that he shouldn't come out to his Russian music or have his Russian flag, right?
Maestro.
Where he's from. But now you're saying that the man shouldn't get paid. That's a bridge too far.
Maestro.
Yo.
That's a sellout at T-Mobile for boxing.
I told you it was a sellout. I was there. It was a sellout crowd. I was there. I know it was a fucking sellout.
That's a sellout.
So, I mean, there was over 20,000 people there. Okay, maybe there were one or two seats that weren't occupied because somebody was getting hot dogs or going to the bathroom. I don't know, but it was a sellout. So, I agree with D-Style. Shout out to D-Style. D-Style says Baturviev shouldn't fight unless paid in advance. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, put that shit in escrow. What would you do if you were Baturviev, Joe?
Escrow. Beeb Industries legal team would be on it right away.
Scale Bender, you got any last words on this?
Pay that man his money. He beat me straight up. Pay him.
I love it.
Pay him. Pay him his money. It already is an escrow, man. Matchroom's not trying to not pay anybody. But again, like,
he'll get his money. But
even if I was in the States, what if you had some issues going on right now, like where, I don't know, you had a lien against you, you had an obligation, someone was hanging over your head. If you owed me a check, I might think twice before. Just hang on to the check. I know we're good. Let me get something set up to where I'm not going to have any problems. Right? It happens all the time. They'll take care of it.
Even he's going to ultimately get paid at the end of the day. But the fact that they have to drag him out and not pay him when he right away like they're supposed to. That's another.
But they're trying to. In other words, the contract is set up. Pay Beeb Industries. The night of the fight, they might have said, "Hold on. Beeb Industries having some issues right now. Whatever. I want to start Beeb too. Whatever. Something. Let me get it set up."
I wish it was a event.
They might not be accepting it right now. Is what I'm saying. I doubt they're jerking him for his check. Who
knows? Who knows what they're doing?
I know what they're doing.
So Mr. Jimbo says the T-Mobile Arena's capacity is 20,000 and there was over 20,000 fans in the arena. That sounds like a good crowd. I don't get the hate. No, I agree. I mean, it was a big fight. It had a big fight atmosphere. Okay. And yeah, Mr. Vegas, I agree. We got to pay the man. We definitely got to pay the man. Anyhow, let me Scale Bender. I'm going to let you go and let H Money on. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't have a state tax, so the feds will send him they'll send him a 1099 at the end of the year, and he's gonna have to pay his taxes at the end of the year. That's how come Floyd always owes money in taxes, because he doesn't file his 1099s.
There you go. Thank you for the super chat, D-Style. And let me ask everybody to make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell. H Money, what's good, fam?
Yo, what's good? What's good? Ringside Reporter, my boy Maestro A Boxing. Man, it was a great week. Bivol cooked Canelo. Canelo got cooked. You know, it's simple and plain. Bivol gave him a boxing lesson. It was easy work. It was definitely easy work. It was a one-sided, lopsided ass whooping. And you know, Canelo, he didn't look prepared in that fight. He did not. It looked like Canelo took Bivol lightly. I felt like Canelo was celebrating the Caleb Plant victory, being undisputed a little bit too much. And he had a chance, you know, at 175 to take it light. He didn't have to train hard to make weight. You know what I mean? And I think that definitely has something to do with it. Will Canelo take the rematch? Will he duck the smoke? You know what I mean? He better run it back, Maestro. I mean, he better run it back. That's all I got to say, you know. And I mean, I think Bivol in a rematch, I would have to favor Bivol, especially after the first fight. He made it look so easy. You know, I don't know what type of adjustments Canelo can make in the second fight. I think he can do better. You know, I don't think there's no possible way he can do worse. He pretty much lost every round in the first fight. I think Bivol will get better in the rematch. I think Bivol has the jab, the movement. He has the chin. You know, I don't see Canelo beating this guy, Beeb. I don't. And ever since Canelo got his ass smoked, it's been a funeral around this motherfucker, bro. You know what I mean? People been silent like church mouses, you know, and I was telling guys, he's not better than Floyd Mayweather. He's not on the level of a Money Mayweather. And Canelo fanboys making excuses, B.
That's why I've been fucking riding them all fucking week, man. I've been handing out tissues all week to these motherfuckers, and I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Canelo's so small, he should move down to 154. He's such a tiny little man. Bivol's so big.
H Money, I gotta ask you this question though, because the topic of the day is the fact that Bivol's people and Bivol himself have come out to say that he hasn't been paid.
He's yet to been paid. They haven't cut him a check yet, Jay.
It's difficult for him to get paid because of the sanctions against Russians. What do you think of that?
I think it's definitely some bullshit. They wasn't treating Bivol like a champion this whole freaking time. You know, we know Caleb Plant made $10 million against Canelo. Bivol only $2 million. Billy Joe Saunders, $8 million. Bivol only $2 million. Bivol was the champion, but he walked to the ring first. Bivol was the champion, but they introduced Canelo last. Didn't even sing the man's national anthem. I think it's a total bullshit. And yeah, man, Canelo was being a sore loser. Canelo thought he won the fight, Beep. Man, I think he's on his Deontay Wilder shit, if you ask me. Your next Deontay Wilder, Canelo. Right? Excuses.
You know what's similar to the Canelo to the Wilder situation, H? Wilder was actually pretty humble when he first took the L, like right at the beginning. Right? I did a video way back when I juxtaposed him right after the fight saying the better man won and all of that other stuff. And then later on, it was obviously Glovegate, my trainer's disloyal, he spiked my water, the gloves were loaded, all of that other stuff. The thing is with Canelo is he was gracious in defeat inside the ring, but by the time he got to the post-fight press conference, he was saying that he thought that Bivol won at most 4 rounds. So I don't know.
He's deluded. He's deluded. He's basically on his Teofimo Lopez Wilder type of smoke. And I remember what you did with Tio, Maestro. You cooked that guy. So Beeb, I'm starting to think Canelo got punched in the head too much. Obviously, the man was celebrating after the fight as if he won the fight. Drunk, bro. And Terrence Crawford is now the #1 fighter pound for pound in the world. And you know, I'm looking forward to the rematch, B, to be honest, bro. He got to run it back, man. To be honest, I talked to a lot of the Mexican people, and they said Canelo must run it back. And if he does not, they're going to be disappointed in this guy.
They're going to jump ship on Canelo? You think they're going to jump ship on Canelo?
I think a lot of fans already jumped ship on him with all those excuses. People were fans until he started making excuses, B.
Got to take the loss, huh? Just say I lost to the better guy.
Exactly. And then he's raising his hand after the fight, Beep, as if he won, hoping on a robbery. He was hoping he got a robbery decision, raising his hand. So Canelo's still a great fighter. We all know he's a 4-division champion. He's a former undisputed champion, former #1 pound for pound. But all the excuses, Canelo lost because he went against the bigger guy. Last time I checked, Kovalev was bigger than Canelo. So was Colin Smith. And Canelo got his ass whooped by a little old man. Floyd Mayweather schooled his ass. And Lara, who was little guys. So they can miss me with all those excuses, man. Shout out to the ringside reporter, B, man. Keep cooking these guys, man. I love it. Shout out to my boy Maestro, man. Canelo got cooked. Canelo got cooked. Thank you, guys.
I got the grill working overtime this week.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So, look, I mean, my whole thing is they got to pay this dude his money. And if the sanctions are so rigorous right now that civilians can't get paid for putting in work, well, then those sanctions need to be removed or need to be adjusted because, well, first of all, I'm not in favor of sanctions usually anyways because they only target working people most of the time. And this is an example of that, right?
Yeah.
This guy's not in government. This guy's not responsible for Russian foreign policy. He's not responsible for the decision that Putin and his cabinet makes. The fact that he can go all the way from St. Petersburg to fight in the United States, train in the United States, show up at the T-Mobile, beat Canelo Alvarez, and then have his purse not transferred to him, that to me, that's nothing short of criminal. That's nothing short of criminal.
Can I tell you what the purses were? So it says they are reporting that Canelo will earn a guaranteed $15 million purse for the fight and will claim 70% of the pay-per-view sales. Meanwhile, Bivol is guaranteed $2 million and will receive up to 30% of the pay-per-view sales. The Canelo Bivol card, everyone knows it costs $60. So here's the thing: was this deal really better with DAZN than the PBC deal? Because I'm not what was the guarantee money for that PBC deal? Is what I'm wondering.
That's a good question. I can look it up.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna get eviscerated for saying this. I honestly believe he thought Bivol was. I honestly believe he thought Bivol was an easier touch than Benavidez, and I'm not saying he thought it was like Charlo was a harder fight, but I think he thought Bivol was an easier fight than Benavidez because Benavidez is heavy-handed. He throws a lot of. I think he actually took this deal because I think he liked the landscape of this deal better. Whereas
I'm going to answer your question right now, Joe, because I got the Carfax right here. It's not Carfax, it's TGB Promotions Tom Brown and what he says, but he told Boxing Scene that an initial fight against Charlo would have been for a guaranteed $45 million, with the follow-up fight generating a guaranteed $55 million for Canelo.
Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. I as much as they were saying they thought, I'm sure they knew Bivol was a skilled fighter, but I feel as though they thought because he wasn't a big light heavyweight, because he wasn't a big puncher, they'd rather fight him instead of fighting a guy like David Benavidez, who is a big super middleweight, right? And who does punch pretty hard. He's got 22 knockouts in 25 fights, right? On paper, you can argue he's not as skilled as Bivol. I'm not gonna try and even argue against that. But sometimes when you look at a fight, right, a fighter will look at a fight and say, this guy's skilled, but this guy may not be as skilled, but this guy's style will be physically more taxing on me. In other words, where I don't think there's little or no risk I'm going to get knocked out by this guy. But David Benavidez, there's a risk that I could get knocked out by David Benavidez because he's heavy-handed, because he throws so many punches, and because he's actually bigger than Bivol. If you want to be honest, even though he fights at 168, David Benavidez is a bigger man than Dimitri Bivol. So,
yeah, he definitely is.
I think there could be, arguably, and again, this is my opinion, that maybe this was the path of least resistance. Because Bivol, as great as he was, as skilled as he is, he's not a big light heavyweight, and he's not perceived to be a hard puncher right? You know, David Benavidez is a big super middleweight, brings a lot of volume, right? Brings a lot of volume, and he's a pretty heavy-handed guy, right? So
Yeah, look, I always thought that the Bivol fight was a tougher fight than Charlo, than Benavidez, and definitely than
I'm
anybody
not sure.
he was talking about. That was my opinion before this fight. The performance by Bivol only solidified that in my.
Let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
There's different ways of describing a fight as like it's a tough fight, but what would be a more physically taxing fight? What would be a more dangerous fight? A Bivol fight or a Benavidez fight? Now, is there a chance that Benavidez could stop Canelo? Because Canelo, he fades, right? He gets tired late in the fight. Benavidez would push the pace on him. You can argue that. I'm not going to try to change your mind on this, but could you argue that from a physical standpoint, the nature of the fight could be more taxing than this Bivol fight? In other words,
Well, I mean,
is that a good? Am I making good points in that area?
I mean, it definitely would have been a more toe-to-toe, back and forth.
Would have been a rougher fight, right? Would have been a rougher fight, more physical fight.
I think he would have had more openings for offense, Canelo, against Benavidez for sure. But what I do want to say is I feel as if Bivol had multiple opportunities to go for the finish, but because he's a very disciplined fighter that sticks to a game plan and that felt that he was comfortably winning the fight, that he didn't really have to. I don't really think he had to do it, but there were multiple times where had he stepped on the gas and gone from third gear to fourth or fifth, I don't think Bivol got out of third gear in that fight, Joe.
No, you're right. But the reason why I'm saying this is I'm not saying that Benavidez would have been a tougher fight. What I'm saying is, did they have the perception that Benavidez was a tougher fight? Because it's funny how they wanted to unify at 168, right? But when Benavidez was the champ, they never called him out or wanted to fight him. And that was around the time, and we talked about this earlier, where he said he didn't want to fight Mexican fighters, right?
Which, as I told you over the phone, I've always felt was really ridiculous because he'd already fought a Mexican fighter in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and others, by the way. He had also fought the Riverside Rocky, who's Mexican-American. And Benavidez is born in the United States to mixed parentage, Mexican and Ecuadorian. So if you're going to fight the other guys, why not fight him? Now, I mean, I never understood that personally.
I'll be honest. I think Canelo would have washed Charlo, with all due respect. I don't think that fight would have been really competitive because I think Charlo has some liabilities fighting on the inside. I think Benavidez brings a lot of challenges because he can fight on the inside. He's got a great jab. Charlo, I think wouldn't have been that tough. Despite what a lot of people say, I think he would have beat Charlo. Based off of what I saw Charlo versus Derevyanchenko, Canelo can do what Derevyanchenko did times freaking 10, right?
100%.
So I don't think I don't think there was really I don't think the Charlo fight was a dangerous fight. I think the Benavidez fight was a tough fight.
Well, I want to answer Haplotype's question here. So Haplotype said, they said Bivol is from Indio, California. The sanctions should apply. Well, again, I'm going to go back to this. And I'll just remove your thing so we can all see it. They were saying I shouldn't box. Then they say, let's do it, but without the Russian flag. Then they say, let's play different music. It was a surprise for me how they announced me. They didn't say that I was from St. Petersburg or Kyrgyzstan. They somehow said that I was from Indio, California. So he's not from Indio, California, which is what he's saying there, Haplotype. He's saying that they announced him from being there. He's from St. Petersburg, Russia, born in Kyrgyzstan. Philly Drew, what do you think about the treatment of Bivol? And what do you think about the fact that he's saying that he hasn't been paid for this fight?
First of all, I've been saying that the treatment that he's received is a little BS because first of all, you're a champion. You're supposed to come out second, not first. And like from Indio, California is where he trained at. That's where Joe Diaz is at. That's where he was training at. So that's why they did that, which I think it's a little BS. Also, we say where the guy's from. Doesn't matter if you have Russian conflict with Ukraine or not. If the U.S. doesn't agree with it, you still gotta give the man that respect. He is given he should have the respect because he's actually going into enemy territory and fighting. Because the U.S. was against the Russian move in the Ukraine, but he hasn't getting paid $5 million because they say Russian sanctionings is the reason why. And tell you the truth, I kind of figured he wasn't going to get paid right away, which is crazy. But to Joe's point, saying that Benavidez would have been a tougher fight than the Charlo fight, I think the Benavidez fight would be the easiest fight for Canelo. He gives him a lot of openings to explore, and I really think Canelo stops Benavidez late because of the amount of punishment he'll take. But Charlo would easily get beaten by Canelo too.
Yeah, I think Charlo would lose. I think Benavidez, because he's such a fast-paced fighter, because his hands are quick, because he throws so many punches, because he's got a good jab, because he can fight on the inside. I think it would be an interesting fight.
I got a question for Wayne McCleary in the chat. He goes, "Are these guys forgetting why they didn't say where he's from?" What do you mean by that? He's from where he's from. I mean, you going to erase where somebody's from? You're going to erase what their nationality is? Is that what you're doing now? You're going to erase the kind of music the guy likes? Is this the country that we live in? I thought this country was about free speech, Joe. I thought that's what we were all about here, Philly.
It's
so
like
free speech, I guess, ends depending on where you're born from, right?
It's like this. Not all Russians agree with what Russia's doing.
The war. I'm going to go right back to you, Philly. Just hold that thought. The war. What about the attack on Iraq for weapons of mass destruction that were never found? What about the attacks on Syria and on Libya and on Afghanistan and on Pakistan and on Somalia and on Niger and on Panama and on Grenada? What about those attacks? Were fighters from the United States, was their nationality ever erased because of that? Wayne McCleary? Or does this just apply to Russians? So you're saying he was lucky he was even allowed to fight? Man, somebody, I don't want to go off. I'm on that channel, Joe.
Like I said, I don't hate that. What I liked the Bivol fight, right? But I think the Benavidez fight would have been very interesting. I hate the Golovkin fight. I don't like the Golovkin fight. So what I'm saying is, I thought that he took this deal because it was more lucrative, right? But if they're guaranteeing him 45 and 55, and his guarantee was only 15 for this fight, and he's banking on pay-per-view back end to get paid the big bucks, I'm just trying to put this together. What would you have done, Drew? Would you have taken the guaranteed 45 and 55, or would you have taken 15 and had a bank on the back end? What would you have done? What would you have done, Maestro?
I would have taken the more money, but here's the thing.
I would have taken the PBC deal if what was said by Tom Brown was true. I mean, the last time he fought for PBC, they gave him $40 million up front.
To answer your question, Joe, I would have gone for the higher offer. But to go back to this, I just don't understand how anyone can condone someone coming here to the United States, putting in a full training camp, showing up to fight, winning a fight, and not getting paid. Drew, you can answer both of those questions in terms of what deal you would take, and the fact that there's actually people in this chat that seem to agree that the man shouldn't be paid for his hard work.
Well, here's the thing. To the first question, I would take the more money, but I'm going to give you a twist on that. They are fighters on the PBC side that still owe money because there are too many guaranteed contracts with the PBC fighters. That's why they have a lot of pay-per-views that flop. And they have to put them on pay-per-view in order to make money on their contracts.
Are you sure
And,
that
like,
a lot of PBC fighters are owed money? I haven't heard too many people say that. Spence never complained about getting paid. Wilder never complained about getting paid. You know, Fury got paid when he fought Wilder the first time. I don't know, Drew.
That's because Floyd was promoted by another promoter also.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't know, man.
but here's the second.
Let's go to the second, and we'll go to you right next, Jimmy. Go for it, Philly.
But here's the other thing. I'm tired of people trying to take it out on the athletes. A lot of the athletes do not agree with what their own country is doing to Ukraine, and I'm really like, that's what like really pisses me off. That it's taking on the athletes. That they got to earn a living too. Doesn't matter if they agree to it or not. You still can't take it out on the athletes.
Yeah. All I'm saying is if I thought he took this deal because it was more lucrative. Again, I'm not shitting on the Bivol fight. Believe me, I'm not. But what I didn't like was the Triple G fight, and I was hearing that third fight wasn't going to be anyone.
Well, a John Ryder type opponent.
Yeah, John Ryder type opponent.
Told me when I interviewed him.
So from a boxing standpoint, I think I would have liked to see the Benavidez fight. Like I said, I don't think Charlo would have won, but I think the Benavidez fight. Yeah, let me read this super chat. I'm sorry.
The super chat, Joe, and then we'll go to.
Sorry, brother. Skillbender says, "Give this to Bivol for me, and just be like Big Paulie. Now I got to turn my back on you." All right, go ahead, Jimmy.
Jimmy, go for it.
You've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
Good evening, lads. I hope everyone's well. See, I heard that the zone contract, from everything that was being reported, wasn't it way bigger though? They were saying it was like 160 something million for 3 fights.
Well,
that's what I heard originally.
That's what we heard, but we also heard the Canelo original deal was huge, and then they had to restructure it. They had to restructure Golovkin's deal. Now we're seeing that they only gave him. Well, I'm not saying only, but his guarantee was $15 million. I thought, if PBC was going to give him a $45 million guarantee and then and plus pay-per-view back end, I'm just trying to figure out why he wouldn't take that.
Well, what I'm thinking, though, Joe, that this might be is that the $15 million was for the Las Vegas, Nevada money, what they report to the commission there, probably based on the gate. But then once all of the international TV stuff comes in through the zone, they'll just pay him that directly in Mexico. That's probably how they structured it.
They could still, unless they did it because they wanted to save him no, because he still would have to pay taxes. I mean, they cut $40 million checks before. Like Tyson, they cut Tyson $30 million checks. They cut Mayweather $100 million checks. I mean,
yeah, but those are guys that live in the United States and aren't citizens of other countries. So he probably wants to get paid in Mexico where the taxes are lower. Mexican taxes are lower than U.S. taxes. I know that for a fact.
I know that, but the guarantee is what the guarantee is. I mean, if the guarantee is going to be $45 million, then they cut him a $45 million check. It doesn't matter one way or the other.
You said like the third fight would be possibly John Ryder, right?
Let Jimmy finish his point though, Drew, because he was going to talk about the DAZN deal. We'll go right back to you, Drew. We'll go right back to you. Go ahead, Jimmy. Finish.
Yes, I thought that's why DAZN went to pay-per-view though, because they guaranteed Canelo so much money. If he was getting paid $15 million only, I mean, that's pretty shocking because that's one of his lowest purses that he's ever made for a fight. I always liked the Bivol fight. So for me, it was 50-50, right? So you had one tough fight in Bivol, and then you had the Golovkin trilogy, which no one really cared about. Same with PBC. I didn't really care for the Charlo fight because I thought that was very easy. But then you had the tough fight in Benavidez. So for me, it was about the same. But Canelo's motivation was, if I beat Bivol, I get a belt. If I go to PBC, none of those guys are, reigning champions. I guess that's what his logic was. And then he could use that belt to hopefully unify against Beterbiev in the future.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If he signed the PBC deal, he would have been done in 2 fights, and then he could have done whatever he wanted in the third fight. Now that he's got 3 fights with these guys, that third fight is not going to be a great fight, right? I mean, from a fan's perspective, I think it would have been better for us if he signed a PBC deal. If I'm really being honest.
Yep. Like, I look at it like this. You could have had the Bivol fight in the first fight. Second fight, I don't think you should have fought I don't think the Triple G fight should happen.
Yeah.
Because he's too old now. It's too easy to predict the fight and everything, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, Eddie Hearn should have looked at it like this. You just lost Demetrius Andre, and you said you couldn't get him the big fights. Why couldn't you make one of these fights, Demetrius Andre? Give them both what they want. Give him his deal, and give your fighter, one of your main fighters, a big fight like you promised him, and you couldn't hold the end of the bargain. Or is it because Canelo didn't want to fight Demetrius Andre because his style didn't favor him?
Well, you know what the thing is with that, Judo, is as well, is that I've been seeing reports trickling in over the past few days that Anthony Joshua may be signing with Sky.
He's going with Boxer. He's going with Boxer.
Yeah. To do this. So I mean, it's not just Andre. I mean, Eddie Hearn's biggest asset that he could have taken over to the zone from his UK stable is Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua seems to be seriously considering signing to fight on with Sky. Jimmy, what do you think about that?
That's crazy. And also, I feel like Sky, it's actually really weird though, because I thought this was probably the end of Sky once Eddie Hearn left it, but they're actually going through a bit of a resurgence. They signed Ben Whitaker as well. He was like a British Olympian, a bit of a star on the rise. He's got a lot of hype.
Medalist.
Yeah. Frazier Clark as well. He won a medal in that heavyweight division. They got Chris Eubank Jr. They got Josh Taylor. I don't know, man. I feel like the zone in the UK, it's just not going how everyone thought.
Jimmy, I think Eddie made a mistake by cutting Sky out of the pie. I think it's going to come back to bite him somewhere down the road later. Made a mistake.
Yeah, because this is going really different to what I think Eddie Hearn thought. He thought, okay, the zone, he's got $1 billion or whatever it is. I don't know where he's spending it because he can't make any good fights. So, but Sky, I mean, in the UK, I'd say they're actually coming back really, really strong. Joshua, Eubank, they just had a big pay-per-view with Conor Brook. They got the Chris Shields and Savannah Marshall fight. Ben Whitaker. I mean, Josh Taylor.
They're showing the ESPN cards out there too, the top rank cards.
Well, Len Blavatnik, who was a philanthropist, had a bail friggin' the zone out. So that just goes to show you what they've been taking losses since they friggin' started, man.
And here's a question. Don't you guys think they're going to lose North American subs because everywhere else didn't have it on pay-per-view, but the North American audience had it?
Of course they are, Drew. Of course there's going to be a backlash. Of course there are.
So it's going to be like this is turning back the backfire on them because I don't think this pay-per-view is going to do it's going to be under 200,000. It's probably going to be under 150,000 in my opinion.
A lot of people streamed it, Drew, from what they told me.
Yep.
Man, I think those pay-per-view numbers are going to be scary, man.
Yeah, it was on the same night as a big UFC card as well, so I think that hurt the numbers.
A UFC card that also stole the headlines because of that kick that ended that fight. Yeah. So there you go. So Jimmy, though, we didn't hear your opinion on the actual topic of the day, which is the fact that after Bivol came out and was complaining about the way he was treated in terms of not even being able to come out into his own music and not being announced from where he's from and having his nationality essentially whitewashed, that now he's not receiving any money. What do you think about that?
I think that's disgusting, bro. This man was treated like a damn near journeyman. You had to walk out second. Some people are saying he's getting paid as little as $2 million. That's probably the lowest a Canelo opponent has ever been paid since maybe like pre-Miguel Cotto. But he took it, he's like, look, man, I'll take the shit end of the stick. I'll do whatever you guys want. It's all on your terms. Give me the fight, give me the opportunity. And when you get an opportunity, you seize the moment and then they fuck you over still. It's like, man, like when does the shit train stop?
Jimmy, are you glad Canelo lost?
You know what? It is a little bit relieving because I'm a Canelo fan, but the whole myth can end now. Like, you can never beat Canelo on the cards.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Fights is a cherry pick. And now it's like, okay, a lot of these fights look interesting now.
Thank you,
and
Jimmy.
The whole, A-side thing, it was too much, bro. And to be honest, I think big shocks for boxing are a bit of sometimes it can be a bit of like a fresher breath air. Like everything was getting stalled and Dale with the whole Canelo show. So it's made things more interesting now.
I think this isn't a cherry pick at all. I heard people say this is cherry pick on one. It's not a cherry pick. Bivol beats both Benavidez and Charlo.
Yeah, but Drew, it wasn't a cherry pick, but it was perceived to be a cherry pick from them, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think this is what I think they thought. This guy is the smallest out of the light heavyweights. He's the lightest puncher, which I'm not trying to say that in a disparaging way. He's the lightest puncher, right? He's the least dangerous out of the 3 light heavyweight champions. If we have to go in there with Joe Smith, he's heavy-handed, he's very strong, he's big, he's aggressive. Same thing with Beterbiev. I think that they felt that they were going to break. They were just going to walk through this guy and knock him out. You could just look at how they were fighting. They were storming forward, or he was storming forward, throwing one punch at a time, thinking that all I got to do is hit him with one big shot and I'm going to get him out of there. I think they perceived. They could say I think they said all the right things, but I think they perceived him to be a soft touch.
I disagree with that, Joe, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's because of what you said earlier. I can't imagine a world where anyone thinks that Jermall Charlo is a tougher fight than Dimitri Bivol.
No.
And wait 1 second.
No,
Jermall Charlo was the first fight offered as part of that PBC deal. So on one side you have Bivol, on the other side you have Charlo, and to me Bivol is the tougher of those two opponents 10 times out of 10.
Well, it depends. It depends what the perception is. You know what I mean? What were the odds? What would the odds have been if Canelo was going to fight David Benavidez? Would he be a minus 500 against David Benavidez in your opinion?
No, but David Benavidez wouldn't have been the first fight on that deal. It would have been
Yeah,
Charlo.
I'm not worried about the Charlo thing. The Charlo fight to me was a gimme to be honest.
But Joe, that's the comparison. The first fight is Bivol versus the first is Charlo. So, I mean, of those two fights, he chose to go with Bivol. And to me, Bivol is a much tougher opponent than Charlo. That's all I'm saying.
Who do you think is the harder puncher out of the two?
Bivol and Charlo?
Yeah.
Probably Bivol. I mean, Charlo is not even really proven himself to be that great of a puncher at 160, to be honest. But go ahead, Lil Penny. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Hey guys. By the way, I'm in the train, so I might get cut off because the connection's not good. By the way, am I the only one that believes that Canelo can win the rematch? I think Canelo is good enough. Is a good enough fighter. He's a pound for pound fighter to make adjustments. It's not like Maestro Biebs, Irish Drew. Canelo didn't get annihilated. I mean, he only probably
got a box left to a penny.
This was the worst loss. This was just as bad as the Mayweather loss, almost.
Oh, Biebs, I was at the Mayweather fight, and I think Mayweather did better than Bivol.
I don't know about that.
But Biebs, I believe in Canelo. I think he will win the rematch. I actually picked Canelo to win by unanimous decision against Bivol. I'm picking him again to win a unanimous, or maybe a split decision or majority decision.
It's not going to happen, Little Penny.
Don't be surprised if Canelo gets stopped.
Oh no!
Don't get surprised if Canelo gets stopped.
How many rounds did you give Canelo in that fight, Little Penny?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the most you could have given him. I gave him 2 with the swing round.
Yeah.
Three is within the realm of
How many rounds did you give him when he fought Mayweather?
None.
Didn't you give him 1?
I didn't even give him not one.
I thought lost him as well.
I think he was
lost him as well.
I think he was completely outclassed by Mayweather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas in this Bivol match fight, I think he can make a few adjustments here and there. He doesn't need to reinvent himself.
Can't do it.
I'm gonna tell you why, Little Penny. Even with the white adjustments he make, he's still not gonna win. Because Bivol's going to get better. He's going to have a better game plan to counter that. Anything he tried to adjust to in that fight, Bivol countered it.
Bivol's feet are too quick for him. Canelo has slow feet. He's never going to be able to catch him.
Yeah, Joe, he was slow feet because he was at 174.5.
He always had slow feet. He had slow feet at 154 too. When Mayweather and Lara were running circles around him.
He didn't look slow against Golovkin too or Danny Jacobs.
Well, yeah,
A lot of people look fast against Golovkin.
Is Golovkin fast?
No.
No, he's
Yeah,
not.
but
He's not the fastest at all. He's definitely not the fastest.
Little Penny, you know what? You have a right to your own opinion.
But I want to ask Lil Penny about the topic of the day, which is not necessarily about what's gone on in the ring, but what's hasn't happened after, which is the fact that Bivol has not been paid.
He the man.
He hasn't been paid?
No, that's what we're talking about here. They're saying because of the Russian sanctions, he might not get paid. He hasn't been paid.
Oh, well, that's not good. Damn, that's bad.
To say the least. I mean, give us your thoughts on it. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but don't you get you're guaranteed at the start? You know they usually like give the Nevada State Athletic Commission your guarantee. Doesn't the promotional company, don't they pay that up front and then you get the rest back after the pay-per-views have been counted?
That's what's supposed to happen, but the problem is that in this day and age, Russians are getting blamed for everything from election results in this country to God knows what else. As I've been saying the entire show, he's not in the Russian government. He's a civilian. He's a citizen. He's no more responsible. He's no more responsible for what Russia is doing in the Ukraine than Joe Habib, Philly Drew Irish, or anyone else living in this country, including me, is responsible for what the U.S. did in Iraq, where over 1 million people died, or in Afghanistan, or in Syria,
Maestro,
Libya.
Maestro, has Canelo been
with the Palestinians right now? I could go on and on and on.
And Maestro, has Canelo been paid?
There's no reports that he's not being paid. But why is a Russian civilian, a fighter that put his life and blood and sweat on the line against Canelo for our entertainment, being denied a payday because of his nationality? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. All I'm going to is he beat his ass, paid a man.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pay the guy.
Yeah,
Come on, Penny. You have for fair wages.
Yeah,
Come on.
No, I agree. Like that Russian guy in Rounders, pay that man his money, man. I can't do that Russian accent.
Want me to do it for you?
Yeah.
Pay that man his money.
But by the way, it's a great
my fucking club, and I'll splash the fucking pot anytime I feel like it.
Yeah, Beebs, don't splash the pot, man.
So Joe, I'm gonna leave you guys in good company. I got to do a few things before the round table. I want everyone to make sure that they check out the round table tonight on D Style Boxing. All right, it's going to be an epic show. Joe Habib's going to be there. I'm going to be there. And what I also want you to do is to make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. I'm going to drop the link in the chat there, and make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell so that you know every time my brother Joe Habib goes live. All right, so you got to do all of those things, yo. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, share the video, all right? And I hope to see you live on my channel too. That's Maestro Boxing. All right, look me up. Link is in the chat. Joe, I'll see you later. You in good company with Philly Drew and Lil Penny. You guys enjoy the rest of the great show.
Hey, Maestro, before you go, you know your mic, when you interview people in Las Vegas or New York, you should have on your mic, you should have a Maestro, like an emblem, like on your mic. So
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you this there before I go. I don't know how many more interviews I'm going to be doing at these live fights. It's like what do they call that thing where you know, when you're feeding dogs or whatever, you know, and they'll try to get to the bowl first. That's what it's like being over there. You know what I mean? You
get good views though, Mike.
Left out some dog food and everybody in for it. That's what the interview's like. You know, I talked to this with Joe. I like doing interviews right here, you know, on StreamYard. You know, I don't really like lining up for an hour to interview somebody for 5 minutes. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I like providing my People's Republic of Boxing coverage. You know, you see me going around the strip, you see me walking around the arena, you see me interacting with the people. That's what I like to do. And when I do interview people, I want to do it like my brother Joe Habib over here. I don't know how many more you know, how many more of those sessions I'm going to be getting down with personally. But
I don't enjoy covering fights, man. It's like
Hey,
a rat
Maestro,
race, man.
yeah, go for it. What's up, Penny?
Yeah, Maestro, your weigh-in videos, man, that's got good views, man. I've seen that. It's like over 10,000 views.
Yeah, got like 14,000 on the weigh-in. That's the kind of video I'm going to be doing. Weigh-in, post-fight press conference, walking around the arena, walking around the city where the fight's taking place.
Yeah.
Salute to Don Feliciano, by the way. I saw him at the Garden. Big up to you, brethren. But yeah, I mean, it's a madhouse, man, trying to line up to see like Eddie Hearn or somebody else. It's like, you got, you know, I'm telling you, it's a madhouse. It's a madhouse. But salute to you guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Also,
great show.
Also, Maestro,
You gotta let him go, Little Penny. He's got things to do. What's going on, man?
This is the last one, Little Penny.
Last one, Little Penny, please.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean,
sorry,
you're like a little.
Sorry, just a bit of feedback. Hey.
I'm being interviewed right now by Little Penny on Ringside Reporter Live.
You're like a little kid grabbing a candy bar and throwing it in the cart, like every aisle. Go ahead.
Go for it. Go for
No, because I just want to improve Maestro's views on YouTube, because I know he's planning to go full time.
Write him an email then.
Dude, you know when you interview.
Go for it.
To improve your views, Maestro, I think you should interview a few more Latinas, man. I swear, even put it in your thumbnail. That will get you views, man. Trust me.
What a fucking pervert. This kid is.
Who likes the Latinas? I could go on with that. Yeah, it's got a good point.
Please. You sound like Robbie now.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Crazed dogs out there, bro. As soon as that press conference ends and Eddie starts walking, it's like paparazzi, like buzzards. You know what I mean? And then you obviously got these channels that get, you know, preference, right? Usually the ones out there in the UK, then you got some of the bigger ones. Yo, I gotta get to the back of that line, and then I'm there waiting for an hour to speak to somebody for 2-3 minutes. You know, and like I was telling Joe and everybody else, you see the numbers on my videos. I mean, I get better videos talking to the people. So that's what I want to do. I want to continue to talk to the people, right? So shout out to the People's Republic of Boxing. That's my chat. You know, there's a lot of crossover with the Ringside Reporter Live community, obviously. And I'll see all you guys later. Great show, great topic. Joe, I need you to cook, though, on Bivol not getting paid. I need a Joe Habib cook on that before the end of this live, because that's honestly criminal. That's what I'm mostly here for.
I got you.
All right, take care, everybody.
So the big thing is just the way this guy's been treated all along throughout this whole thing. That's what we've been talking about, Little Penny. I guess they're holding up his money. Customarily, what happens is the promoter takes the checks and gives it to the commission, and the commission holds on to the checks, and the commission pays the fighters generally in Las Vegas after the fight. For whatever reason, he's saying he hasn't got his check yet. I don't know what's going on, but that's the big thing. So it's just another long line of things of slights that this guy's had to endure throughout this whole promotion and leading all the way up to the fight. So that's the thing.
Yeah, man.
If he's even he's probably going to get paid, but just the fact that they're making him wait for the check is just disrespectful. You know what I mean? Why should he have to wait?
Even the national anthem beeps that was disrespectful. Like,
I mean, if you don't want to
like
play
this
his
guy's-
national anthem, then don't play any of the national anthems. That's what we've been saying all along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna
And he
cut
walked
out
in
2
first,
men.
right?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut out 2 men. But if you guys get any closing thoughts before I go, you go ahead and feel free to chime in. But I'm gonna bust out of here. I'm gonna get ready for the show tonight. But thank you guys for stopping by, man. Always appreciate it. Nice to have you, Drew. Nice to have you, Little Penny. Thank you, everyone in the chat, and we'll catch you later tonight, man. 8:00 Eastern time. Ringside Reporter, not Ringside Reporter, the Round Table. Actually, the Ringside Reporters on Sundays. All right, guys, be good. All right.